and when he was principal of Lower Manhattan Community Middle School. He was the founding principal of when it moved to 26 Broadway. And suffice to say, he did an incredible job with that school. And we lost him to District 15 for a little while, and where I'm sure he also made a huge impact. And now we are very fortunate to have him back in District 2 as our new superintendent, position he's just about ready to start. In fact, they're introducing him, I think, tonight at the CEC meeting. So please help me welcome Ellie Mcguire.
Thanks so much, Tricia. And I'm not sure if I feel strange not having my camera on. I don't see a way to do it, and I apologize for not being web excellent. I'll work on that. But as long as you can hear me, I guess I can, introduce myself and just thank you for having me. It's pretty fun to look at the list of names here that are of folks who are here on the meeting and recognize a bunch of them and know that a lot of us have done good work together. Just a very quick little bio of me is, Tricia is right. When I moved to New York City, I first worked as an assistant principal at Wagner Middle School for a couple of years, and then as principal of Greenwich Village Middle School, which became Lower Manhattan Community in downtown, and had a great privilege of working not just as the principal of the school there, but also with a lot of community partners, including Manhattan Youth and other folks who provided some amazing services and supports and really wonderful activities for our students, both during the day and after school. In fact, a lot of the partners that we worked with in the downtown area, we ended up hiring as teachers. So there's amazing stuff happening in the area for kids K through 12, and we really took advantage of it. So yes, I'm back here as superintendent. As Tricia said, I was in District 15 for just a little over a year, but when the opportunity to come back to District 2 was presented, I really jumped at it, and so I'm happy to be here. And I mentioned to a few people that this is the schedule has been challenging. There's a lot to do. I won't be shy about that. But every meeting that I've gone into has just been comfortable and really wonderful to see and reconnect with people that I worked with as principal for so long. So thank you for having me, and I appreciate it. And as Tricia said, I will be hopping off fairly soon to get to the CEC meeting, but I'm glad very much to be here, and I will come back when there's another opportunity.
Do you have time for a couple quick questions, Kelly?
Sure.
It's 6:11, so we could probably take just a couple questions if anybody has any. Do we have? Nobody has any questions? Oh, Tammy. Can you let Tammy in, Jen? There she is. Tammy, can you talk yet?
Hi, I'm back. Sorry about that.
That's okay. We just introduced Kelly and you had your hand up, so I wanted to see if you want to talk to him and had a question or anything.
I wanted as chair of CB1 and a parent who's also going to jump to the meeting to follow him there for the next one to say welcome and thank you for making the time to come. We really look forward to welcoming you to District 2 and being a part of Community Board 1, as we are a vibrant community of families.
Yes, for sure. It's the vibrancy that drew me back. So,
we love that. So
I'm
thank
happy
you
to be
very
here.
much
Yeah.
and welcome.
Thank you.
Kelly, it's Bob Townley from Manhattan Youth. I just wanted to wish you luck. Any way we could be helpful in going forward. It's like never before, obviously.
I'm sure.
We're there for you.
Thanks so much, Bob. I appreciate that.
Anyone else? Okay, good. Well, I think a couple of us are going to follow you over there, so we'll see you over there later, Kelly. But
Thanks,
I
Trisha.
really appreciate you stopping in and saying a quick hi, and we're really looking forward to working together. We're just thrilled that you're going to be in this post, and so all the best.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
And with that, Tricia, I'm going to follow him to the other meeting. Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Have a lovely meeting.
Okay. So without further ado, I'll bring in our discussion with Ann Shields, the co-founder with Sasha Ellenby of, please help me out here, EV Loves.
I'll just clarify. Thanks, Tricia. So Anne is not the co-founder. She'll clarify that. But Anne
Okay.
volunteers at EV Loves with Sasha, and they have something they want to bring to the community's attention and maybe ask for a little bit of help on, in terms of they kind of had a bounty of opportunities that they are trying to help figure out how to handle. So thanks, Tricia, for adding them to the agenda, and Jen as well. And welcome, Anne. And welcome, Sasha. So
thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you, Anne, for arranging this and inviting me as well. And Anne's been an incredibly prolific volunteer on the project. And if I may, I'd just like to give you a little bit of background on how we started and what's been going on over here. And then some thoughts on how we might collaborate with some members of the community on this project. So we actually started 2 weeks into the pandemic when everything was in lockdown. We got a call from one of our friends who is a priest, who told us that because all the restaurants were closed down, then there wasn't any hot food going out to the banks, to like the homeless centers, to all the centers that usually receive the restaurant leftovers. And so he asked us to help because we'd done some cooking for him before in the past. And we decided to just kind of like jump on board with that. Myself and my boyfriend, Mamad, co-founded what we call a pandemic startup, and borrowed a cafe from a friend, and was literally at the night times cooking food while the cafe was running in the daytime. And we did that for the first probably 6 weeks of the pandemic before 6th Street Community Centre stepped in the East Village and gave us this incredible space to work from. And so at this point in time, we've cooked around about 85,000 meals, which are going out to organisations all over the city. We're providing food for 19 organisations. We started off just working with Queens, but we're providing food to organisations all over the city now, like all the different boroughs. And what we do here is we make food en masse. So we'll get together on a Sunday. We cook like 2,000 to 3,000 meals at a time. So we've got a very kind of like big high turnover operation. A lot of that is thanks to Mamad, my co-founder, who is kind of a maths genius, so has this like way of scaling up things in a way that none of us have quite fathomed how he manages to do that yet. And so we have a bank of volunteers that come regularly, but obviously like we're a year in now and people get a little bit of compassion fatigue. So we've been reaching out to the communities, seeing if anybody wants to come in and volunteer. We have had younger volunteers, and we think this is a great way to show people like what can be done in communities. We've got a very great safe space here that provides, you can probably see the space behind me, there's a lot of space for social distancing. So we provide a safe space with air, like with all the doors and windows open. So we've had number of different community members come in and be part of that and enjoy the high vibe, heartfelt, kind kitchen that we've created. And we think it's a model for something that can be like seen and emulated around the city. And we always welcome people to come in, like particularly like younger people, and see what's possible. It seems to have given a lot of people ideas and sparked ideas for community fridges and other projects around the city. So that's kind of like a very brief overview of where we're at currently. And obviously I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have on that.
I kind of wanted to add something as a
Sure.
volunteer and as a parent of former high school students in New York City. Both of my kids had a community volunteer component to their diplomas. And I had contacted Jeff to see if his school possibly had that and if we could tap into high school volunteer programs. And Jeff told me that, of course, because of COVID, things have shut down. But I thought that maybe you all could brainstorm some ideas about working with high school students, because a lot of the work is lifting and it's you know, it's heavy work, but it is so rewarding. And I don't need to tell people who are on a community board the value of serving your community. But I think, as Sasha said, it's a great thing to model. So we'd love to hear any and all ideas for summoning more muscle and more thought and more volunteers.
Thank you both very much. I'm thrilled to hear you're doing this. And as a parent of a high schooler, I have seen things come through, oftentimes through the college office. There's a lot of in-person and remote volunteer opportunities that the kids are engaging in at a lot of our schools. While it might not be part of the regular programming, you know, like clubs and something that may have existed that was the whole semester in terms of its commitment, there are plenty of opportunities for them on a rotating, revolving once, you know, twice a semester for some kids, but some kids may want to get more involved. I would suggest that, you know, you reach out to the parent coordinators at the high schools to let them know what you're doing. And I would imagine you'd get a great response right now. There isn't, you know, I think one thing as a parent of this age group is there aren't a lot of opportunities that are, say, if they wanted to go twice, let's say they can't commit to twice weekly, if they can go twice in the semester or they can be part of some big event you're doing, I think that can be a lot more manageable for people. And so the fact that you're your own organization, I think, has a lot of positives to it in that way. And I'll let other parents share their thoughts as well, because I'm sure we have a lot of different perspectives here. But I would be happy to take your mention this to my daughter's school and see what might be possible.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Judy. I totally agree. We are looking for volunteer opportunities for my kids who are in high school. And I'd be happy to share it with their different parent coordinators, but I would also just ask if someone wanted to get involved, like me or my kids, like how would we go about doing that?
Of course. So we've got a form on the website for anybody that's over 18. They can literally just fill the form out on the website. And we check a few things, you know, like for safety things, like whether you've been out of state and, you know, all the regular things that we need to be checking in these times. For under 18s, you know, we'd ask that you'd reach out, and I can share the email address. We'd ask that you reach out, and we always say that an under 18 needs to be accompanied by an adult, and an adult can accompany up to 3 under 18s. That's in any one shift. So we're very welcoming of that, and I can share the email address and the form on the website as well. So that you can see that there's a system in place for people to be able to reach out and do that.
Great. I have 3 teenagers, so I can supervise all 3 of them.
Beautiful.
Good thing I don't have 4.
It's not penance either. It's very fun. There's loud music, lots of dancing, lots of the people are definitely nutty artists. It's a very positive, upbeat, fun experience. I always go feeling worn down from work, and I come back and my husband can't stop me from like, and then. So it's really fun.
Beautiful. And yeah, we've tried to create that, you know, like the heartfelt. I mean, sometimes we have a DJ here, you know, we have a lot of, it's a kind of a very young community of people that have come together. And so we really kind of like feed on that vibe and try and make it into something that people enjoy coming to and feel like, obviously it's pandemic time, like we're all being drained from 1,000 resources, as Anne said, and we've really tried to create something that's a therapeutic experience as well for people that are coming. So I'm glad it feels like that for you, Anne, as well.
It does.
So it'd be great to get the information because I know a lot of us parents are desperate with the age group of that 15, 16, 17-year-olds. We really do need these types of activities we need you more than you need us, believe it or not. Please send it along.
Of course. And I can send all the information to the email that was, is that the best way to?
I think the best way is to, can you type in the chat or not?
Yeah, I think so. Let me have a go. Yes.
That would be helpful.
Or I'll do it for you if you want. It's Evie Loves
NYC, I've got it, I think, at gmail.com. And then let me just double check the link for if someone else wants to chat for a second or ask anything, I'm just going to double check that I give you the right link for the volunteer page. 1 second. Okay. There we go. Brilliant. Got it.
Bob, can you send this out through your organization? Sasha and Bob Townley here is a major part of our community. He runs a downtown community center and does so much for our community involving youth, especially.
Beautiful.
You're muted, Bob.
Oh, you're muted.
Still muted.
I could do that.
Okay, thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
And just to reiterate, we do welcome one-off volunteers, you know, people that we've got a core of volunteers, but we've also got people that just show up once and come and give their heart. And, you know, we welcome people who come regularly and also people that can just drop in once. So either is perfect.
I've been doing it and I'm happy to do it. May take us a little while. You know, when I say a little while, 5 work days, 7 work days, you know, digitally connecting and then planning it and getting it to my communication people, because we've been rather busy. But I found that people really enjoy doing that kind of work. Very fulfilling to them, and it's really important people find that as many ways that they can give as possible. That's the way we get out of this shit.
Thanks, Bob. I'm not seeing anything in the chat personally. Is anybody else seeing anything in the chat?
Did I? I think I did it to host privately. Let me try and do it again.
That's okay too. Well, I mean, that's a good start. He can get it to us, but if you can get it to all of us, that would be terrific.
Yes.
Get me an email. Yeah.
It's actually only allowing me to send it to the host for some reason. So
we will be sure to ask them.
Or community could distribute it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
You can send out to the committee, Jen. That would be awesome.
Sure. And Trisha, I believe.
Go on.
Yeah, I think Lucian has access to the chat box, so he would have received that privately from Anne. But if Anne would be able to send that information over by email, and I can just send that as a blast email, that would be great as well.
Sasha, just to be clear, Sasha would send that. It's Sasha runs the organization.
Great. Okay.
Yeah. I can do that as soon as we're done here. I can reply into the email for this event.
Thanks so much, Sasha and Anne, for
Thank you,
the
Sasha.
opportunity and the work you're doing to help people. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time today. Wonderful.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So that's great, and thank you, Jeff, for bringing that item to us.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Hopefully that will take hold. Boy, it'd be a great thing for our kids. Anyway, moving on, I have just a quick update on the Harbor School. I've been working a lot on that offline. Oh, some of you are probably following this ULURP process going on Governor's Island. I sense that there is going to be, some accommodations made to the original proposal if it's accepted at all. But suffice it to say, we were hoping that we could divorce really the Harbor School pool from being tied to its approval because of, how long it could take mostly. And so a lot has been accomplished in terms of our elected officials. They've all gone to bat. I am so happy to say we have Kavanaugh and Margaret Chin and Yulene and Gail Brewer. We have Nadler involved. We had a call with Gillibrand's office. We have the mayor's office has been contacted. We're getting every bit of help we can to make this happen for them. And now it's as you all know, when they moved this school from Bushwick to Governor's Island, it's almost 10 years ago, that it was always with the promise of a pool to get the diploma that you need for this marine program that they are, so famous for. You have to know how to swim and dive. And so it was, someone used the word amenity at a recent meeting, and I pointed out that it's infrastructure for them. It is not an amenity. And they have combed the island, and the only location, because of a myriad of reasons, zoning, water table, we're building a pool, a deep pool on an island. So the available and appropriate sites are very few and far between, and we have identified site 515, building 515, which is the old hospital building. And it's been confirmed that the SCA has given it a green light. This is huge. So now we just need to work with the trust to release that building. And so we are in the process of doing that right now. I hope to be able to come back in March and say it's done. And certainly if there's anything important that happens between now and then, I will make sure and send out an email. Certainly if you keep in touch with the meetings that are happening regarding this ULURP, it does come up at all these meetings. So if any of you would like to join those too, that would be great. But for those of you who did reach out to our elected officials, thank you. And please continue to do so. I think it's definitely not a done deal by any means yet. But I think the time is right. Our resolution really helped to be able to refer to Dan Squadron's on the Governor's Island Trust. It was nice to run into him again. So that's my update on that. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Next and last is just the announcement. I'm sure you all saw it, but I wanted to make sure it went on our agenda just to stamp it in time. The middle and high school admissions deadline has again been extended to March 1st, just so those poor parents can agonize even longer. So far I've heard that things are going pretty well, but if things aren't going well for anybody that it's just important to reiterate, to have them reach out. They can reach out to our office, they can reach out to the CEC and the Department of Family Engagement, because a lot of people are gonna, probably have experiences with the changes that have been made that are difficult. So they certainly have put a lot of things in place, from what I'm hearing, for that support. So anybody have anything to add on that they have heard, or any concerns? No?
Tricia, this is Wendy. So when will the kids find out where they get in if the deadline's not till the 1st?
That's a great question that I have not gotten the answer to yet. I encouraged, when hearing that, I encouraged them to go back and make sure it was the same timing so that families could make their plans now more than ever.
August 30th, probably about August 30th. Sorry.
Thank you, Jeff.
Labor Day weekend, everyone's coming. Labor Day weekend. Find out where you're going to school. Labor Day weekend.
Well, I mean, we're usually here in March.
I just want you to know that you're joking. And I was like, really? That probably is what it is.
I hope I'm joking. Well, I'll have the floor for a second. I also just want to thank Tricia and the committee for indulging my paranoia last month and writing that. So far, at least they haven't taken February away. So they got one more day to do it. Probably not. But my principal, Mr. Colin McAvoy, told me this morning, because I go into school each day and we see each other. He said he got a call for a principal's meeting 2 days ago with very little notice. He was like, "Here we go," and they didn't. He was like, "Okay, here we go. They're gonna do it," but they didn't do it. So thanks for indulging my paranoia.
Well, you know, it's funny. I got a call from Janine Kiley at CB2, the youth chair over there. She's like, "Hey, we saw this resolution of yours. Did you hear something I should know about?" And I said, "No." It was a preemptive strike. She goes, "That's genius. We're totally doing that." So you sparked something that I think is going to move across the city in terms of support, Jeff. So thank you. And
the kids are already so upset about all the snow days they would have been having this year. They are like shattered. So yeah, that was very smart, because you never know with this, chancellor and administration.
You don't know, and it would be absolutely the wrong thing to do. I mean, for those that aren't like in need of the time off, it gives them a chance to catch up. I mean, the kids need a minute, this is just a lot. And so I think it's very good for the morale at a time where, I'm still hearing a lot of reports about mental health challenges, which is, something I want to bring to the board. I've been doing some research, and it's just something that I'm trying to gather to bring as an agenda item next month. It's just really quite a crisis what's going on right now.
Sorry, Sarah, go ahead.
No, I said because this is something really close to my heart, and if there's anything that you need help with, please just tell me. I'm happy to do whatever is needed.
Well, one of the first things that I'm going to do that maybe I'll just mention to all of you now, which is very happily can go public, is just that I'm finding that the guidance counseling has been beefed up at a lot of our schools, not all, but that it's optional. And my feeling is that especially when you're dealing with a teen population, that we might want to make it required. I think oftentimes I've heard my daughters say, "Oh, nobody calls the guidance counselor. I mean, that's so creepy." I'm like, what is it? Why is that creepy? Well, it's not that big of a deal. I'm just like feeling this. And I'm like, so they've made it into something that's a big deal or stigmatized somehow if you go to the counselor.
Tricia, you're 100% correct. No one's ever going to call.
So I don't think they're going to call. And then we have this resource that the schools and PTAs have spent a lot of money on, with these people waiting for kids to come to them that don't. And then they're reporting that mental health issues have spiked 17%. There's a disconnect there.
Tricia, I think part of it is that the mental health thing is real, because it's very hard to see the future because of the day-to-day, what's happening, and just touching base with everyone to say, how are you feeling now? But also, for age appropriate, are you thinking about colleges? Are you, doing some other things? You can talk about something else. It's not always appropriate. I just have that age group right now, but there's something that you can talk about that's appropriate to talk about. Then you can get to the mental health. But if you just ask people how their mental health is, everyone's just going to say, fine, everything's great, have a good day.
Exactly.
I think a couple of things. I think even when we're live, there's always a certain kind of clientele of kids, and I wouldn't want to define that. I'm just saying it's not numerically, it's a smaller number of kids who will want to go speak with the counselor. When I've had students with issues that I thought they could speak with a counselor about, I've had to work hard to get them to do that. Like we have art therapy at Millennium, so it's kind of an entry level way to get physical and do something nice with your hands and sit and have a conversation. And it took me a while to get a few of my students to do that, but now they like doing it, but that's gone for right now, obviously. And then I think what happens at our school, at least, and I hope many schools, I don't know, Dennis, if you know what's going on where you are, because I know you're in an unusual circumstance, it sounds like, but if I see a kid that's really struggling that I can't reach, I will say, I'll say to them one-on-one, I think it'd be good to talk with one of the counselors, but I'd also write to the counselor and say that. But I'm not sure it's a systematic thing that's happening.
It
And,
isn't.
and I agree with what's being said. Like, I mean, right. And also these are the absolute worst days. I can say it with my own child, my high school age daughter. It's just miserable times. It's cold out. It's snowy everywhere. It feels claustrophobic even outside. And it's just like, but you know, we're getting there. We're heading to the 1 year anniversary, and I think that's going to be, I hope for people, of a feeling of like, okay, we've done a year and we're starting to move into warm weather. But I don't know, you know, it's hard. And when you're down, the last thing you want to do is like, let's go Zoom meeting about how down I am.
Yeah, forget it.
Um,
So I do think that, you know, to a required 10-minute check-in is something that I think could pull out a lot of things. Like Wendy said, you talk about something else and it brings you into what it is that's really underneath it all. I mean, I'll never forget what Kelly McGuire's therapy dog did at LMC. That was just incredible to witness. And I do think it's to young teens and older teens. And so, you know, just something I'm experimenting with and talking to a couple parent coordinators and assistant principals about right now.
So one of the things that we at Millennium, we were just talking about it a few days ago, which is not all teachers are created equally. Jeff, you have the ability to, and you have that sense to reach out to a kid that you think they need help. Not everyone. So we're talking about some teachers, and especially the advisory, they need professional development.
Yes.
Because not all of them are the same. And we're just seeing the kids are like really suffering a lot. And I mean, Trish, I could talk to you a little bit more. We have a friend of ours who has a psychiatrist for children, and he scared the bejesus out of us of what's going on and what they're currently seeing.
Yeah.
Especially with, I'm surprised more with middle schoolers than high schoolers now and more. And so there's a lot that needs to be done. So something to this conversation, but what is going on with budgeting? Because I'm fearing that we'll need a lot of help. And I know there was talk about taking money back from schools. Do we know anything about that?
No, I almost thought about putting that on the agenda, but we passed the resolution last month. The good thing that happened is that the city council had their, what would you call it? Their community meeting where they all talked this past week. And Christopher Marte came out and spoke specifically about that. And it's covered in 2 papers today. So it has gotten wings. He's been a great advocate for he's paid attention to our resolutions, which I think is phenomenal. And really helped move out the message. So I was pleased to see that. And I hope that the DOE agrees to it and I can come back to you next month and say that's done also. And yes, it is a budgetary, I mean, although I am finding the guidance counselors are in place, I think really I have to do more research to know from a scheduling standpoint what something like I'm proposing would look like. It's not that they aren't there. So I'm always respectful of the teachers and their time. And so while I have a great idea in my own mind, when you have a large school and a small guidance staff, what does required check-in look like? So I hope to have something solid to talk about next month. And certainly if you guys have resources you want to share, I am gonna hope to add it. And under that theme, if you have anything else you want to share regarding mental health, we could focus on that in March.
I know it came up last month, but is there any sort of study going on, or can we advocate for any sort of study to go on during this mental health? Or, you know, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it just seems to me that everyone is taking such a different approach everywhere with everything.
Right.
That I don't know if there's some way we can advocate to say, hey, listen, if there's partnerships with universities out there, the DOE should open up and be open to being examined.
Yes, I could not agree more. I just wish I could get, it's tough to get the data. You hear this data come on a national level, which somehow is easier to monitor than it is by the community, by the district, by even by the city. Like, you know, a lot of these things aren't reported, and the ones that are reported are anonymous and with, you know, good reason. But it's hard to then target where the problems are the biggest. And also not knowing the details, you have to, you know, what would the solution be that would be the most effective? What would the treatment, what would the way we go about things be the most effective? And so that's the missing link, right? We do know that general anxiety is like probably the worst thing that we're seeing. But you know, I do hope to find out more specifics. And then it's all about resources in terms of anything beyond guidance. And that's always money. And then there's that. But certainly I think we can start building, you know, something that can go beyond the pandemic too. I don't think what we have in place right now in our schools is adequate, period. I think the setup is not a functional one if it's optional for teenagers.
Okay, would you be willing to reach out to Ellie Mcguire, since he's now like a big wig with community board, you know, not community board, but the, you know, District 2 school superintendent?
I already talked to him about it. And so
awesome.
I do, you know, as soon as he settles in, I don't want to, he's got so many things he's being hit with. Once he gets through admissions and a couple of our big challenges, I do hope to sit down with him and pick his brain a little bit. He's done such a great job of it at the places he's been. And he's also done a great job of, you know, those of you who know LMC, as we open our schools up with no screens, he's led 2 schools now that while they were screen schools, they were 4 levels of learners. They were diverse schools. And he had so much success that I hope we can, you know, follow his lead on how he did that. And so it couldn't be better timing, especially from a middle school standpoint, I think. He's going to be so helpful to people as they move through this process, both teachers, principals, and students. So we're really, I think, really fortunate to have him. So I expect that he'll be very open to discussing and thinking and acting on this. Oh, Sarah, your hair's in up. I'm so sorry. I didn't see you.
It's okay. It's actually a quick question. I'm not sure if there is a mechanism for parents who see a problem and are unable to deal with it to reach the guidance counselor. Is there any outreach by the schools, by the counselors, by the Department of Education to the parents? Because I obviously, you know, my kid's out of college, so we don't really have a connection. But I see a lot of people that are struggling with their children and they can't seem to reach someone who'll help.
It is so interesting, and that's what got me going, really, is that I experienced it, you know, firsthand, where, you know, I really just wanted an answer to a question, and I wanted to ask them, is it optional? Does she have to check in with you? And that took a week. And then when I heard back, they'll swoop in and they'll drop an email. And they drop an email. If the child doesn't answer, it falls to the side. And then the parent can prompt it again. So yes, the parents can prompt it, but the mechanism is still the same. The guidance counselor is reaching out by email. And if that fails, that's it.
Okay.
And
so the answer is no. Okay.
I think that's the problem, is that it's not required. If it's not optional and there's points given to it or a grade given to it, or consequence or reward given to it, then I think we're bound to be more successful.
It would be wonderful if there was a required check-in for parents.
Yes. I could not agree more.
And I'm done.
How we do this in a school system this size, I don't know, but I have to believe it's possible. And so I'm going to keep on keeping on. And if anybody is interested in joining me, like I said, I'll make space for it next month for us to have a wider discussion. Sarah, is your hand up again? Sorry.
No, I'm just saying, I'll
I'm
join you.
volunteering again.
Oh, okay.
Volunteering to do that. Call anybody to go chat with them.
That's experience
Be the
psychedelic
person.
going on. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, and thank you all for coming. Unless there's any new business that anybody wants to bring up tonight, we'll go ahead and wrap. All right. Thank you guys for coming.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.